Everybody, it's the Bull Show, aka Aiden, and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, we've got three more players to discuss in relation to the media day for the Chicago Bulls. If you haven't already looked or known, we have one video based on Billy Donovan and Arturas Karnisovas. We have one video based on Zach LaVine and DeMar DeRozan. Today, we're going to be talking about the three remaining players that did do interviews on this day. It's Nikola Vucevic, Alex Caruso, and newly acquired Chicago Bulls Goran Dragic. So we'll take a deeper dive into all the things they have to say, and also, I guess, look at my own opinions on that situation. As I always have said, I really highly recommend you watch these individual interviews yourself on any social media platform you feel comfortable with, just so you can get your own opinion, your own perception, and then you can come back to this video. We can talk about some of the interesting, I guess, concepts behind it and whether or not you agree or disagree. But before we get started, please like and subscribe to The Bull Show, turn notifications on, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Chicago Bulls, whether or not you agree or disagree with what some of the people had to say. Very interesting interviews here, very interesting media day in total, as we get very, very close to very important times, and the media day is the very beginning of that, which is why I like the media day so much. But we'll talk now, and we'll go more into what Nikola Vucevic's interview had to say. Now, Nikola Vucevic was more, in my opinion, I guess the word I like to call it is damage control, because we know the questions Vucevic are going to get asked just based on the poor season that he had and the fact he's on a contract year. You could almost easily identify how this was going to go. And Nikola Vucevic handled himself superbly well in this media day, and obviously these interviews, these questions he was being asked. He was honest. He knew his weaknesses, and he said a lot of things that I think a lot of Bulls fans would love to hear. So we'll get started on that. So basically, he was first asked about the whole trade situation that happened around him. He was having a little bit of fun on Twitter earlier on in the offseason about his trade situation, making fun with Rudy Gobert and stuff like that. Just, I guess, he's a very good character, Nikola Vucevic, on Twitter. And again, he's a football fan as well, so that is very interesting. He says a lot of funny things. So I honestly follow Nikola Vucevic on Twitter. I think you'd get a very good time out of him if you're not just, I guess, a basketball fan. If you're more into his personality and stuff, I think it'd be a good one to follow. But basically, he said, control what you can control. He never expected to get traded, and I think from the conversations he had with the Bulls, he kind of knew he wasn't going to get traded. But at the end of the day, the media, a lot of people were getting around this conversation. A lot of people were really actually pushing for this to happen as well in relation to a Vucevic trade. But the Bulls stuck to their guns. They stuck to the longevity and the continuity that they supposedly want, and they stuck by Nikola Vucevic as well. So very, very interesting there. And yeah, I did like that answer, and again, I do like Nikola Vucevic on Twitter. I think he's a very, very interesting character. He, just like everybody else, was basically asked about the shape of the Eastern Conference and how the East is going to look. He said the East is better, but we as a team need to take a step forward, and we need to show that we are also better as well. He mentioned that we have, again, a year under our belt. Everybody kind of knows their roles a little bit more. Everybody's expected to do a little bit more. And as much as the Eastern Conference has gotten better, Vucevic believes that we as a team, the Chicago Bulls team, has gotten better as well. So a very, very reasonable answer, an answer that I'm completely on board with. As I said throughout the Zach LaVine interview as well, I know the East has gotten better, and with DeMar as well, I know the East has gotten better, but not everybody's going to live up to the hype that's set for their teams. Not everybody can be first in the Eastern Conference. Not everybody can be in the top four of the Eastern Conference. Not everybody can be in the playoffs of the Eastern Conference. And from what I've seen, there are at least 8 to 9 teams that truly believe they're not going to be in the play-in this year. So someone's going to disappoint. And I hope it's not the Bulls. I've said that countless times, but it may very well be the Bulls. So we've got to do our due diligence to make sure it's not going to be our team, and we're fighting, we're getting better, and we improve from last year. When asked about his contract situation and how if it's going to be able to allow him to play better, as well as the adjustments that he has to make, basically, he said this is not his first contract season. He's set up financially for life. He's not necessarily worried about the financial gain he gets from having a great year this year. He's made small adjustments. He feels like he's had a good off season, and that these adjustments will hopefully help him to have a good season. And he doesn't necessarily, he looks at his season by season things, and he works on things to do. So he has a little bit of a different approach heading into next year as well. Not a bad answer from Nikola Vucevic whatsoever. Of course, kind of of neglecting the contract side of things. I guess, look, maybe him as a person won't necessarily worry about the financial gain, but there is a whole management team behind Nikola Vucevic, agencies, agents, all of that will focus on the financial side. Nikola Vucevic doesn't need to come out and say, I'm looking for the most money I could possibly get, or that I don't necessarily, I want a team-friendly deal. As long as I stay here, I'm happy. He doesn't need to say anything. So he said he's not worried about the financial gain. That's probably a positive you could take out of that situation, but there will be people around Vucevic's team that will be focusing on that area. And obviously, in terms of getting better as the season comes, I've seen Vucevic slim down a lot, which is very, very positive. And I guess that's his way of having a good summer and adjusting to what the team needs from him. So I like that a lot as well. And all I can say is actions speak louder than words in this instance. We'll have to see it on the court for Nikola Vucevic. He kind of talked about what he did wrong last year. And here are some of the things that I guess, took out of this, the notes that I took away from it. He was very passive. He didn't necessarily want to be too aggressive. Sometimes he settled for shots, and more specifically three-point shots and things like that. And I think at the end of the day, very similar to the one-dimensional comment we got from Billy Donovan, Nikola Vucevic kind of talked about it as well, saying we didn't actually use different aspects of our game, and more specifically Nikola Vucevic. He said very, very importantly as well that the three-point shot is not his main weapon. However, last year, it was his main weapon. It's the shot that he took the most. It was obviously the shot that he was not very good at last year, and he knows that there are other things to his game that makes him a great player, which is what I've been saying the whole time. You can shoot three-point shots. You can be bad at the three-point line. He was bad at the three-point line. I would never defend Nikola Vucevic shooting 6 threes a game and shooting 31% from three. That's an awful, awful percentage and an awful amount of shots taken at the three-point line from a center. If he's firing on all cylinders, shooting 40% from three, great. Take as many threes as you like. You could win us games like that. But when it's not going your way, he even admitted himself that he was settling for shots, he was forcing shots, and he was very passive, and he wasn't aggressive in the post. But the things that he did do well are the reasons why he had a good season. He still was a great rebounder. He still put up 17 points. He was still good from the post, but he settled too much from the three-point line. He admitted it, and that means that, in my opinion, he just knows. He knows exactly what went wrong with him and how he can approach it. So, yeah, look, a really honest answer once again from Nikola Vucevic. And again, I think he's kind of making a point that this is not going to be just, in my opinion, a three-point shooting season for Vucevic. Don't expect him not to shoot threes. He will still probably take 3 to 4 threes per game. I'm calling it now. But yeah, I really do believe that we will see more in the post. We will see more out of him in the future as well, from the post, from the mid-range, and things like that. That does make him a very good player. And that's pretty much it in terms of what kind of happened with Nikola Vucevic. A lot of it was prioritizing his bad performances from the three-point line, and that was the majority of his interview. So I kind of summed it up as much as I can. If I left anything out, feel free to let me know in the comments below. He thinks he's a good shooter, Nikola Vucevic, as well. That was a very good comment, and he appreciated the reporter saying that he was a good shooter as well. I believe Nikola Vucevic is a good three-point shooter. One bad season is not going to mean, wow, he's a terrible shooter. He's never shot a three in his life. He sucks on the three-point line, or I could do any better. None of that. I do believe that Vucevic is a good three-point shooter. I've just never been I guess, wanting to see a center shoot 6 threes per game, let's say. And I know the game's changing in that direction, but I really do hope for Nikola Vucevic and for the Chicago Bulls, for the NBA, that we still see a little bit of that paint game and we see a little bit of that post game. But we'll move on from Nikola Vucevic and we'll start talking about Alex Caruso. Obviously, the first question about Alex Caruso, since he is wearing the number 6 jersey for the Chicago Bulls, they did ask about Bill Russell. And basically, he said he aims to make Bill Russell proud in relation to the NBA season and everything like that. So obviously very, very positive there. And basically what I found interesting is that apparently if you're top 75 in terms of jersey sales, you can't actually change your jersey. And I find it interesting that he actually looked to go and get another jersey or change his number. So yeah, it's a good way to start off the press conference, mentioning Bill Russell, honoring Bill Russell and making him proud. And I'm sure Alex Caruso can do that, and that could be an accomplishment that Alex Caruso can achieve. And obviously the jersey sales Alex Caruso is very popular, and I'm surprised that that's actually a rule, but fair play. You go by the rules, and he's a popular guy, popular player. You get what you deserve. Next, they talked about Lonzo Ball, obviously the partner in crime, Alex Caruso, Lonzo Ball, dynamic duo defensively. Basically, what he said in relation to Lonzo Ball is that the Chicago Bulls point guards in Io, Goran, Caruso, and anybody else that he actually mentioned has to pick up the slack for Lonzo Ball based on what Lonzo leaves behind. So very, very important there. Lonzo brings a lot to the table, and until he does come back, there are going to be 3 guys trying to pick up that slack and try to pick up what Lonzo leaves behind. I've said that before as well. Absolutely love that approach, and obviously it's an approach that's going to be well needed. Alex Caruso also said that he plans to win every game, so basically he wants to go 82-0. Obviously a little bit naive, and of course I'm sure deep down Alex Caruso doesn't believe he's going to win every game, but his aim is to win every game, and that's the mentality that you like to have. You want players that are going to give 110% on the floor. Basically, what he's worked on in the off-season, he wants to be able to play more, and he believes that his off-the-court habits will be the key reason as to why he will play a little bit more. Obviously, he did say in an interview before, a long time ago, that his goal is to play more on the court and make sure he's able to stay on the court for the Chicago Bulls as well. So I'm very happy that, again, he's taking the precautions on the court and off the court. It looks like he'll be ready to go, and I guess time will tell whether or not he'll be able to stay healthy for the majority of the season. He missed 41 games. He missed half the season for the Chicago Bulls, essentially. So until we obviously can see more of him on the court, he could play 50, 60, 70 games. That'd be amazing for this Bulls team. And it'll obviously reduce the slack on defense that we obviously obtained with injuries like Alex Caruso and Lonzo Ball as well. Asked about starting or coming off the bench, team first guy, doesn't matter if he starts or on the bench. He likes to finish games instead of start them, and he's going to do whatever it takes, whether it's starting or coming off the bench, to win the games. He said, what does it take to be a good team, or how can we progress to become a good team? He said you have to be good defensively. Every team that's in the playoffs are good defensive teams, and if you win a championship, you're usually a top 10 defensive team in the NBA. Obviously, Alex Caruso is a gritty, hustle defender, so that makes absolute sense that he's going down that route, wanting to play more defense, wanting to be more consistent defensively. That's obviously a defensive leader that is talking, so you got to listen to what Alex Caruso has to say on the defensive end. When he asked about the additions of Goran Dragic and what he can learn from Goran Dragic, basically he's going to be learning a lot from Goran Dragic. He said he's a learner and he wants to ask questions and discuss more in detail about how Goran Dragic does what he does and how tough he is. He said that he finds Goran Dragic extremely tough, how he did his knee, and then 3 days later or something, he wanted to keep playing and stuff like that. And he absolutely loves the addition of Goran Dragic as well. And that's really all we got from Alex Caruso. Again, the more of the stuff you expect with Alex Caruso. I think with DeMar DeRozan, you got a little bit of freedom in DeMar. He kind of expressed himself openly. Alex Caruso, it was similar, but also it was very much you expect these answers to come out of a guy like Alex Caruso, a role player, a leader, someone that knows what he needs to do to get on the floor, to stay healthy, and to prove himself defensively. You can't ask for much more. I think what you got from Alex Caruso is exactly what you're going to get from the Chicago Bulls during the regular season when he plays. The new addition of Goran Dragic. I honestly did not expect Goran Dragic to be at training camp straight away, but here he is on the first day. Here he is in a Bulls uniform after a very, very tough Eurobasket competition. Goran Dragic is here and he will be part of training camp. You absolutely love to see it, and he goes more in detail about that as well. So basically, first and foremost, he was asked a similar question to Alex Caruso about what he could do, maybe starting or coming off the bench. Goran Dragic basically said it doesn't matter if he starts or comes off the bench. He could be that spark plug that comes off the bench. He could be that veteran leader as a starter, but he's a team player. At this stage of his career, he's not worried about starting. He wants to play and he just wants to make an impact and help the team any way, shape or form. Very good answer. When asked why he joined the Chicago Bulls, it's basically what he said was, every athlete wants to win a championship, and Goran Dragic is at that stage where he wants to win a championship. He talked about Miami. He made the finals in Miami, and unfortunately, it wasn't. He didn't win the championship. He got injured as well, and he has sleepless nights about that moment. And with Goran Dragic, obviously, he wants to continue winning, and this is where the best situation was, where the team wanted Goran, and Goran wanted this team as well. Basically, he said what he offers to a team. basically said he runs fast, he can play fast tempo, but he can also do the pick and roll. And he's here to help the team in any way, shape, or form, according to what Billy Donovan would want. When asked about, he was asked about the Dallas Mavericks, and he said there was conversation with Dallas, but there was nothing ever really close in relation to Dallas Mavericks and I guess joining Dallas, and he picked the Chicago Bulls because there was a better opportunity here. We already know Goran Dragic was reported to get guaranteed minutes over here, and I think we're obviously going to be a team that's focused on winning as well, just like Dallas, to be fair. Dallas made the Western Conference Finals, so they're obviously worried about winning as well, but obviously we're also worried about winning, and he'll probably play more here, so I think that's where the difference is. They asked him more specifically about the Eurobasket and how his shape is, and he said the whole reason that he kind of played in this tournament was because every time he played in tournaments like these, when he came into the regular season, he was ready to go. He was already in game shape. He had already a lot of experience under his belt, and that's why he did it again this season. So that answers the question about whether or not he'll be ready for the regular season. That was a question that a lot of us asked once he was playing in this, and once he even got an injury in this tournament. And basically, he's game ready now. And I think there is going to be no limitations to when he's ready to play. So you will most likely see Goran Dragic at the beginning of the season. Of course, there might be some limitations. At the end of the day, he is 36 years old. Even when he says he's fine and is physically ready, the Bulls might take more precaution than what maybe Goran Dragic would like. But yeah, I'm very, very happy about this as well. This is a very good sign, and it looks like he'll be ready. He'll be participating. He'll be vocal, and I love that with Goran Dragic, and I love that he was able to participate in the international competitions and still be able to be ready for the Chicago Bulls. He's basically also said he was grateful to Billy Donovan when asked about Billy Donovan. Billy Donovan did travel to Slovenia to talk about Goran Dragic, talk about life, talk about basketball, talk about how this team will like to play. And he's very grateful for that. It was a very far journey. And I think that was also a part of the reason why he felt very comfortable joining the Chicago Bulls. He talked a lot about the positives about Vucevic. He said he loves having a guy like Vucevic on the team. He also spoke very highly about DeMar DeRozan, calling him a clutch player, Zach LaVine, and everything like that. And he said there is a very good vibe around this team, and he felt very comfortable joining this team as well. So yeah, he said he's physically ready, and obviously they talked about Derrick Rose. They talked about the dunk. I can't believe they asked him about the dunk. Honestly, I'm happy that he answered it, and he took a light approach, saying, "Oh look, he's the only person that dunked on him. He has nightmares about that moment." And look, it's an historic moment in Chicago Bulls history. If you're a Chicago Bulls fan, you've seen the dunk, you know the dunk, you live the dunk, you commentate over the dunk, you know the exact words that happened during that dunk as well. You've probably seen it in 10,000 mixtapes about Derrick Rose as well. It's the dunk. Probably one of the best dunks in Chicago Bulls history. So, look, Goran Dragic, at the end of the day, I'm happy that he answered it. And I hope that's not going to be an ongoing theme with the Chicago Bulls throughout the year, where we're just going to keep talking about Goran Dragic getting dunked on, even though now he's in a Bulls uniform. I hope we can steer away from that a little bit. But obviously, Media Day, having a little bit of fun. He had fun with it as well. It was a good time. And I miss Derrick Rose. That's all I can really say on this instance as well. Surprise, ladies and gentlemen, there is a fourth player that we're going to be talking about today. Patrick Williams did his Media Day interview today. We got very interesting stuff out of that as well. So we'll be talking about Patrick Williams and what he had to say. First things first, a lot of this interview was based on the workout with DeMar DeRozan, basically saying that DeMar put him through grueling workouts, made him do everything physically possible. It was mentally and physically draining, but he also has a little bit more admiration for DeMar DeRozan. He sees him in a different light. He said he's built different, and he's very thankful for those 5 a.m. workouts. Now, basically, DeMar DeRozan said this was going to happen. He wants to take Patrick Williams to a 5 a.m. workout, to multiple 5 a.m. workouts, just to get Patrick Williams, I guess, on the level as DeMar DeRozan, or try to elevate him even further. That's exactly what ended up happening. And DeMar DeRozan obviously did something very nice for Patrick Williams. And Patrick Williams said that he hopes to do something very similar to another player in this league when he gets to that level as well. So good thing to see from Patrick Williams and from DeMar DeRozan respectively. Great to see that workout actually happen. talking about the fun side of things and talking about whether or not you got to meet any celebrities or anything like that. He said meeting celebrities is not fun for Patrick Williams. Patrick Williams just wants to play basketball. He found the workouts fun. He found playing basketball fun. That's obviously great to see. He talked about, I guess, because the commentators, or the reporters, I should say, talked about him slimming down. And basically, he was asked what he was thought about that. Patrick Williams said he was overweight, or he thinks he was overweight, and that he needed to slim down so he could actually, I guess, move the way that he wanted to move. Look, Patrick Williams was not overweight. The guy was built. He was probably the strongest player physically. Like, when you looked at him, he was probably the most strongest player on the team, to be honest. And he was only at, 20, 21 years of age. So I don't think Patrick Williams was overweight, but obviously that's in his mind. I'm sure if, again, 99% of people you ask around the street ask if Patrick Williams is overweight, no one would say yes. So that was obviously interesting to see. But yeah, I disagree with that one. Asked about whether what else DeMar pretty much helped him with. DeMar basically helped Patrick Williams mentally and physically. Obviously, those workouts that he did, they put him through mental struggle and physical struggle, waking up at 5 a.m. or 4:30 a.m. whenever he woke up, doing workouts at 5 a.m., focusing on the physical side and the mental side of being still tired and stuff like that, working out and stuff like that. So that was very interesting. Again, more on DeMar DeRozan's workouts with Patrick Williams. When they asked about making a big step in terms of he is seen as the person to make a big step, what does he have to do to take a big step, he kind of avoided the question and more focused on the team. Again, he's a team-oriented player, so I'm not surprised that something like this happened, but he didn't say anything like being more aggressive or that he had to, I guess, do things in more of an aggressive fashion. He said everybody needs to make a jump as a team. He's very happy and honored that people see him as a big part, but he believes everybody's a big part. And yeah, it's not just about him making a jump, it's everybody making a jump and stuff like that. So, yep, kind of avoided the question a little bit, but we know Patrick Williams what he needs to do. Everybody said it. Billy Donovan said it. Zach LaVine said it. Everybody has said what they think Patrick Williams needs to do. And he kind of, again, may have not said it himself, but I'm sure Patrick Williams himself knows what he needs to do. Maybe he's keeping his cards close to his chest. He doesn't want to reveal too much too soon. We'll see whether or not he can have that big leap and whether the Bulls themselves can also have that big leap. He talked a lot about the offense and how the offense has changed. Now, this is something you haven't got from anybody else. You haven't got that from Billy Donovan or Arturas. You haven't got that from Zach or DeMar. You haven't got that from Vucevic, Caruso, or Dragic. He talked a lot about how the offense has changed to be more positionless and how there's different spacing this year and how it's more creative this year. This, in my opinion, is the most important quote, the most important note I've written down in relation to the Chicago Bulls Media Day thus far, because a lot of our issues was that we were so stagnant, so one-dimensional, or isolation. The fact that he kind of gave us specifics that this is going to be more positionless. Patrick Williams is going to be in different positions next year than what he was last year. And he's going to be in more opportunities to make more plays. How the spacing is going to be different. Everybody's going to be in different spots. And how it's going to be creative. Something that we sorely lacked towards the second half of the year. If this is true and we see this on the court, I'm going to be extremely happy and proud of the Chicago Bulls team for the level of progression they took from last year to this year. Because we know those problems were big problems. And let's see if those solutions will be big solutions. And basically the last question was asked, is it a make or break year? He said every year is a make or break year. He won't over-psych himself out. He's not going to put any extra added pressure on himself than what already is. But he thought of his first year as make or break. He thought of his second year as make or break. And this year is the same for Patrick Williams. So big quote there. We'll wait and see what the outcome will be. I don't necessarily think it's a make or break season, but I think in terms of being a superstar to being a role player or being an ordinary player or something like that, I think a lot of Bulls fans will turn to Patrick Williams and say this is a make or break year in terms of where your position is at the NBA level. But it's not necessarily always true, especially when the question was asked, the third year is usually the year that people make or break. That's not always true. And I think we've seen that not every player's third year is make or break. And maybe Patrick Williams will be one of them. I don't think Kawhi Leonard had a make or break third year, but I could be wrong on that. And he was compared to Kawhi Leonard in the draft. But even Jimmy Butler, stuff like that. Anyway, that's really all I'm going to discuss in relation to Patrick Williams. I will end the video here. Thank you for watching. Please like and subscribe if you're new. I just want to tell you how long it actually took to finish this, man. The media day, I believe, in my time started at 4:30 a.m. So it was already extremely late. And right now it's 9:02 a.m. and by the time this video comes out, it will probably be closer to 9:50 to 10 a.m. So that's a 5 hours throughout the night that I've been making these videos and bringing it to you guys. I'm not asking for pity or congratulations or respect. I just wanted to bring that to your attention to show that I am still working very hard, and I'm obviously doing it for you guys as well. So yeah, I'll see you in another Chicago Bulls video. I'm going to get some well-earned, well-deserved sleep, and I'll see you in the next one. Have a wonderful and safe day. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay tuned for more. Take care, and